here. Who's on there?
Suppression of evidence will be met with bullet juries. And you can hesitate minutes because I'm the president 10 hands. Your confession is extracted if you think they were persistent in a method, yes, you guessed it. Blessed are we who come in the name of J. Our word spreads like my name. I declare it's a state of emergency, the president says. So don't expect the remedy, depend on me, my energy. It's enough for giving me. You can't resist the skin, so give yourself a movement. It's still feel the war of emotion on your seat. Cross, cautiously. You can't deny the force. No, you can't. You can't deny the force. You can't deny the force. No, you can't. You can't deny the force. You can't deny the force. No, you can't. You can't deny the force. You can't deny the force. No, you can't. You can't deny the force.
Text the round robin. Your questions, comments, wagers. Give us a reason. Sleeper fantasy play, your best alternative line, whatever you have. Text the round robin 757 354 5517.
Can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, take us past our spangled banner yet wave, for the land of the free and the home of the brave.
This is the Deep End Broadcasting Network.
You are tuned in to the Round Robin with Stephen Murray on Deep End Broadcasting.
Still singing out the night before my praise on the bed. When ahead I see the crowd of flashing blue red lights. I'd rather see the crowd
September the 5th, 2023. This is Stephen Murray from the Chicks Beach Deep End Studios here in lovely Virginia Beach, Virginia, the United States of America. Here we are, right on the cusp. 52 hours until kickoff of the NFL football season. College in full effect as well. All right, we'll do a little bit of a shorter show today. Just be solo. I'm going to go through the baseball stuff here in a moment. We have plenty of football to get to for the week. Of course, lots of baseball pennant races too. So we'll go ahead and get into the baseball today as we'll take a little break from football as we will be full force into it come tomorrow, Thursday, and Sunday. So we'll be on live Sunday, 7 a.m. We started at 6 a.m. Eastern Standard Time last year, but we'll start a little bit later this year. 7 a.m. will be the start of the round robin on Sunday. All right, so we're a day after Labor Day, the close of swimming pool season, which, the phone is still blowing up of people complaining about nothing. As they try to distract me as we speak doing this podcast. All right. I will say this about college football, though. I think we have a potential opportunity to have a very, very fun year of college football and see some different things. We see Clemson losing last night to Duke. So Clemson is not the roaring animal that they have been here in recent years. LSU spanked by Florida State. So that was interesting to see. SEC school getting the whooping by an ACC school. And how about Colorado with Deion too? And everyone's talking about that. How they're going to not be very good, be terrible. And then, of course, Deion goes to the Buffaloes. They win in great fashion. Very fun game to watch at TCU. And now Colorado is the storyline for everybody. Now they still have their doubters. It's almost like you have one side versus the other of supporters for Colorado and those who, don't think they're going to live up to the bill. And we're going to find out pretty soon. Past Nebraska this week, they have Oregon and USC both on deck coming up. So we'll learn more about Deion, primetime, and the Buffaloes here coming up. And we've been on a little bit of a roll here. We've had some nice cash outs here on the show. College football, baseball. Soccer was a little close. It was a lot close. I mean, we've been really close to some bigger payouts. We're off to a better start, actually, with soccer than we were last year. Baseball has been decent to us here the last few days. And college football, we're off to a good start as well. So hopefully we can keep that all going through the week and have another good weekend coming up and cash in some NFL stuff, which I already have a few things already locked in with that as well. So we'll get into all of that this week and more. Dave Grande, he will move from Thursdays to Sundays. And then Thursdays we'll just have to fill the gap. John Hill, I'm going to see. I was talking to him all weekend. Sounds like he feels a little bit better. So hopefully we can get him on for the ACC as well. Okay. Let's get to the baseball standings. As we get off fantasy. Oh, yeah, that's another story. Fantasy football. Our draft is last night, and I'll get into more of that later on Sunday with Del Grande too. But I was all set to go. Had a very good strategy, and of course, I succumbed to my exhaustion of the grind of the last month with work, really. So right before the draft, I fall asleep, and I end up with nothing but Arizona Cardinal players for the most part. That kind of players I totally would not take. So I'm in a very unhappy place with my fantasy league. On Wednesday, we'll get another chance with the Guillotine League, which we will be a part of in that as well. The Guillotine is 18 teams. Lowest man kicked off the island every week if you have the lowest score. And then you advance if you do not have the lowest score, and you have the chance to pick up the losing team's players on the waiver wire. All right. So the standings as we speak right now. The Orioles have forever been 2 or 3 games above Tampa, here in the AL East. And here they are 3.5 up. Toronto 10.5 back in the East. Minnesota. Oh my God, I hate people. Minnesota 6 games up on Cleveland. In the Central. So that is for the most part done. Twins and Guardians playing in an interesting series now. Detroit 8.5 back, so they're floating around. Seattle, Houston, both tied for the AL West. Texas 1 game back. The Angels too far back at 13.5. The Braves will wrap up the East. I'm not sure what their magic number is, but they are 14.5 games ahead of the Phillies. All right. The Brewers 2.5 games up on the Cubs and 5.5 up on the Reds. Dodgers 14 games up on the Diamondbacks in the West. That Central is with the Brewers and the Cubs and the Reds. The West with the Dodgers 14 games up on the Diamondbacks, 15 up on the Giants. So wow, what a crazy division the West has been. When the Diamondbacks had first place and the Dodgers were 3 games back, they just completely went on a tear since the All-Star break. Let's see. Let's look at the hot teams because we need to know this going forward. And we kind of thinned the list down from the last time we did this last week. So the Orioles winners of 3 in a row and 7-3 in their last 10, we'll consider them hot. Yankees hot, 7-3 in their last 10, winners of 3 in a row. Red Sox have now won 3 in a row after having a disappointing last 10 days or so before that. Let's see. White Sox are 3-7, so they are cold, continuing to be cold. Royals 2-8, they continue to be cold. The Angels 3-7, they continue to be cold, losers of 4 in a row. The White Sox have lost 4 in a row themselves as well. Everyone else is either 4-6, 5-5, or 6-4. So hard to kind of pick out someone who's going to be completely slumping besides the Angels, Royals, and the White Sox, or teams who are red hot. And really, your only 2 hot teams are Yankees and the Orioles. In the National League, Braves 8-2 in their last 10. Phillies 7-3 in their last 10. Nationals 3-7, losers of 5 in a row. So they've gone into the tank a little bit, have the Nats here recently. Brewers 6-4 atop of that division still by 2.5 games, but the Cubs 7-3 and their last, it seems like the Cubs have been struggling, but still winners of 2 in a row, 7-3 in their last 10. The Pirates are hot, 7-3 in their last 10. And then your last cold team of this bunch will be the Rockies, 2-8 in their last 10, losers of 2 in a row. And they just had a rough time at home here recently. Okay, so cold teams, Rockies, Nationals, Angels, Royals, White Sox, Yankees, Orioles, Braves, Phillies, Cubs, all the hot teams. In the wild card standings, Tampa Bay is clear by 6.5 games over the Rangers. The Astros 1 game above the Rangers. And then trailing the Rangers by half a game are the Blue Jays. 4.5 games are the Red Sox. And the Yankees trying to hang in there 8 games back as we have now 137 games played. So we basically have 25 games left on the average for just about everybody. It looks like 137, 26 games, maybe 23 games for the Astros. Okay, so somewhere between 23 and 26 games left for all these teams. Yankees 8 back. They have to continue to play super hot. All right, Diamondbacks and Reds are tied for the last wild card spot right now. Cubs are 3 games clear to the positive. Phillies 5.5 up from Reds and Marlins, trailing from Reds and Diamondbacks, that is. Trailing, the Marlins are a half game behind the Reds and Diamondbacks. Giants 1 game back of the Reds and Diamondbacks. And then Padres, Pirates, and Mets, 6.5, 7, and 7.5 games respectively back. Probably too far, but I've seen the Mets themselves blow a double-digit division lead in early September. So anything can really happen, to be honest, still. All right. So we're trying to thin out the herd as we get closer to October baseball. All right, to the odds. Let's see what we got going on for tonight, because I want to get some winners and want to keep the streak going. In fact, with the school starting now, we have games starting earlier, which I like. Games all starting just after 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, 6:30, 6:40, a bunch of first pitches. And the first game is the Twins and the Guardians in Cleveland. Let's make sure we get a good weather forecast too. We don't want to sink money into something that ain't happening. 78 degrees and sunny there in Cleveland. And then we have Bibby against Gray as your pitching matchup here. Both pitchers have been decent this year for sure. Gray 2.92 ERA. Bibby 3.03 ERA. 10-3 for him. 7-6 for Gray. 157 innings pitched for Gray. He's only given up 132 hits, and he has about a strikeout an inning at 156. So that's good. Same strikeout rate for Tanner Bibby, the right-hander for the Guardians, and just 111 hits given up. So 2 really good pitchers here. I would not be shocked to see an under for sure. The career lineup versus Bibby for the Twins is pretty ugly for the most part. 0-6 for Correa, 1-5 for Kepler, 0-4 for Lewis, Polanco 2-5, Vasquez and Solano 2-2 and 3-3 for them. So they've done decent. Against Gray, Sonny Gray, the Guardians lineup has done okay. Stephen Kwan has hit 350 against them. Ramirez at 186. Oh, excuse me. I love the chill in the air of the fall, although it's 90 degrees, but it feels nice and chilly here in the studio. Older brother Naylor, 375. Younger brother Noah Bats, Bo Naylor against Gray. Let's see, Jimenez, Arias, Brennan, all good at batting averages. Straw too. So they hit Gray hard, the Guardians. So that might be a little bit of an advantage here for them. And they kind of really just need to win this game. I'm going to have a no play here. I just don't like to put my faith in 2 teams that can be offensively challenged, particularly the Guardians. So we'll lay off of that one for sure. Okay, let's go down to Tampa with the Red Sox down in St. Pete's against the Rays. The Red Sox haven't seen Eflin, the pitcher for the Rays, a lot, so that's interesting. Zach Eflin, the right-hander, 3.40 ERA, 13-8 overall. Cutter Crawford, 6-7 for him, 4.08 ERA for Cutter Crawford. 103.2 innings pitched, 92 hits. Eflin is 150.2 innings pitched, 134 hits, 151 Ks for him this season. And not a lot of bats really against Cutter Crawford for the Rays. So interesting game here. I'm going to expect runs, actually. The Red Sox seem to have found their bats. Tampa's been playing with some decent effort ever since the Wander Franco thing kind of went down. So they've seemed to have rallied around themselves. The Rays are a good team. They're trying to chase the Orioles, so they're playing hard. Boston's in it too. I mean, they're trying to make the wild card. So I'm going to expect the bats to be awake for both of these teams tonight. And with an over-under of just 8, I think that's pretty low, to be honest. I know Eflin's been part of some lower scoring games as well, but I would look at some sort of an alt line here, and I would look for over 10.5, over 11.5, or something like that, and try to get a good number on the Red Sox and the Rays on their over. All right. The Brewers are in Pittsburgh. Jackson against Woodruff. Woodruff has been a really good pitcher for the Brewers. Let me get this stat sheet up for these guys. Make sure we have good weather in Pittsburgh. Looks like we should, right? Yeah, sunny and 84. The Brewers minus 178 on the money line, and over under in this game is at 8.5. I would suggest the Brewers going to hold serve here against the Pittsburgh team. Jackson is, average run-of-the-mill pitcher here for the Pirates. Let's see here. 1-1, 4.46 ERA, just 42 innings pitched, 39 hits, 43 Ks. Woodruff, 49 Ks and just 40 innings pitched. Of course, he's had some injuries as well. So it's righty versus righty here. Both of these guys have given up a lot of home runs in their limited innings. So maybe an over, but I would just lean towards the Brewers, even though I hate to take the Brewers. But the Brewers in some kind of alt line with the over would be fine as well. Minus 2.5 and over 6.5 is plus 210 for the Brewers. So I think that's a fair number, easy to get to, 7 runs. And I could see his scoring output for sure. Maybe the Pirates, because they've been playing hot, can get some runs as well. But Woodruff has been a good pitcher. But I would lean Brewers in a slight over the 6.5. So minus 2.5 over 6.5 makes it a 5-2 game. 6-1 gets you there, something like that. So I think that can happen. The Brewers will never be a strong play to me, but they have been one of the better teams in this really sneaky team come playoff time with all that pitching. So what, all the hype with the Dodgers and the Braves, don't be surprised if the Brewers end up in the NLCS when it's all said and done. All right, 6:40 first pitch in Miami for the Dodgers at the Marlins. It is Jesus Luzardo against Clayton Kershaw. The news for now, here we go, another distraction for another team. Urias, the pitcher for the Dodgers, now with some kind of domestic charge of domestic battery or assault or something like that. You can Google the circumstances, but he's out for the time being. And another pitcher down for the Dodgers. Here we go. So Kershaw, they're really going to lean on him now to be the workhorse, complete. And he has been the leader of this pitching staff for several years, but they're going to need him more than ever now. Slight favorite, only minus 138 over 7.5 is the line. I mean, Dodgers in the over, right? I mean, the Dodgers bats can explode. Luzardo has had a decent year pitching for sure. But Kershaw's 12-4, 2.48 ERA for him, 112 innings pitched. Luzardo, 149 innings pitched for him, 0.1 innings pitched for him, 9-8 overall, 3.62 ERA. 175 Ks for Luzardo in his 149.1 innings. But I'm going to lean Dodgers and over here. The bottom line is the Dodgers just can outslug and outclass the Marlins. I mean, it's as easy as that on this kind of line here. So you're getting a cheap price in the Dodgers, and then whenever you get that cheap price, I think you kind of have to go for it. So that's a 6:40 first pitch there. Another 6:40 first pitch with Seattle and the Reds. All right, so the Reds beat Seattle last night. The Mariners were so red hot. Now they've gone on this road trip, and they've kind of gotten a little bit cold. They struggled at the Mets, struggling in Cincinnati so far. Let's see where are we at. 85 and sunny here in Cincinnati at the Great American Ballpark. And the pitching stats are this. Bryce Miller, the right-hander, 8-4, 3.93 ERA for him, and 107 innings pitched, just 92 hits and 100 Ks. Connor Phillips, righty out of Houston. This will be his major league debut as he was called up from AAA Louisville on Saturday. Brandon Williamson does have illness. So they're going to have to rely on the youngster Connor Phillips here. Born in 2001, so just 22 years old, and he will get a chance tonight against Seattle. Now, I would lean Seattle here for sure, I think, just to try to fade the rookie pitcher. Minus 156 and over 10.5 is the over-under. I could see this being an over game for sure. I could see both these bats lighting up. We haven't seen a super high, crazy scoring game in Cincinnati as much as I would think that we would this summer. The Cubs and Reds got there in some high-scoring games, or at least one high-scoring game last week, from what I recall. But, you know, a lot more crooked numbers I would have expected to see in that Great American small park, as they say, with the ball being able to travel into the stands at a rapid pace. But the Reds and Mariners, I would kind of lean over, and I would lean with the Mariners in this one as well. 7:06. Why am I not at this game? Probably because the Mets are terrible. But Quintana for the Mets is at Patrick Corbin, and the Nationals minus 144 for the Mets, plus 122 for him. Over under is 9. Quintana, he's been decent for the Mets. And the Mets, I feel like, have a little bit. Now, they have some bad losses still, but they've been playing a little bit more competitive. It's just the perfect Mets thing to do, to have a fire sale completely and then start to kind of play better, right? So let's see here. The career versus Patrick Corbin. And these bad Mets batting averages get a little bit better. Lindor's 286 career against them. McNeil 286. Pete Alonso at 326. Most of the other guys, not that much of an opportunity. I mean, we're talking guys like we're using Vientos now. Beatty is back. Mauricio, LaCastro. So the youth movement with some of these veterans is alive and strong here. Career against Quintana for the Nats, limited appearances against Jose Quintana, but nothing super special, really. The most at bats is just 4 by Adams, DH. Everyone else just has a couple of at bats, if any. I would favor the Mets here. I think they can beat up on Corbin and try to get another victory here. So we got a lot of plays so far on baseball. I got a lot of good leans. We'll just see how all this will work out in a Tuesday full slate. I'm going to have another one here. You got to lean with the Yankees. They're red hot, minus 255. Over under is 8. They have Fado, and we're going to fade Fado and the Detroit Tigers. Garrett Cole on the mound for the Yankees, as both the New York teams are at home tonight. I'm sorry, the Mets are in D.C. But as the Yankees are at home, sunny skies, 85. Good weather, too, for the game in Washington. So they'll be fine there. 88 and sunny there. 82 and sunny in New York, in the Bronx, for the Yankees game. All right, so Garrett Cole, Cy Young numbers, 12-4 overall, 2.95 ERA, 174 innings pitched, 136 hits, 188 Ks for him, 20 home runs, and 45 walks. 2-5 for Fado, 57 innings pitched, 44 hits, just 48 Ks, 17 walks, and 11 home runs. So Alex Fado, not the greatest pitcher. Maybe the Yankees can continue this momentum at home. They don't have any career bats against Fado, and the at bats against Garrett Cole are pretty bad. You only have one player over 200 for the Tigers against Cole. So 2 guys over 200. Cabrera is hitting 217 and Carpenter 333. Everyone else is either 0-4 or hitting 150, 167, something like that. All right, so we'll lean Yankees any over here. I think you do the same thing on this one. In fact, let's go ahead and dissect this number a little bit more, because I think you're going to be kind of sketch out. So this is a good one, I think. Like Yankees minus 1.5 under 8.5. That gets you a 5-3 victory. But this is all at plus 260. And the Yankees can get up to 8 runs. I'm not convinced the Tigers can score that much tonight. So I don't want to go over 6.5 runs. But minus 1.5 under 8.5 at plus 260 is probably a trigger I could pull. Hope the Yankees, they've had with issues themselves at home plate hitting the ball. So hopefully Yankees minus 1.5 under 8.5 at plus 260 is fine. St. Louis with Michaelos and the Cardinals at Soroka and the Braves. This could be another over game, to be honest. Or Braves in the over. Minus 2.5 over 10.5 would be a number I would look at. Soroka can be a gasoline can for the Braves. So can Michaelis for sure. Excuse me. And if we look at the line total parlays again, if we're looking at the Braves, let's see. They're not giving me a 10.5. Why won't they do that? All right, so let's see what we can find here. Atlanta minus 2.5 over 8.5 is plus 230. I think that's fairly simple to get to be honest, total wise in this game. I'm not trying to get over 11.5 or something in this game. Maybe I would, I guess. The Braves minus, see, this is just an ultra extreme. Minus 2.5 over 12.5 is plus 550 to get the 13 runs. Yeah, I mean, I could see that. Can the Cardinals live up to their end of the deal against Soroka? I mean, you need to get 4 or 5 runs out of them and then get the 8 runs by the Braves if you're going to get this plus 550 number. It could happen. It definitely could happen. Let's get the weather for this place. Make sure we're not rained out anywhere. 85 degrees and partly cloudy skies for the Braves and the Cardinals. So Braves in the over here, I think, is a safe bet. 740. White Sox and Royals. We will pass on this game altogether. These are 2 horrendous teams at this point. Dylan Cease and Brady Singer, who should be good pitchers, are both under 500, both with ERAs right around 5. Both have had over 143 innings pitched, and both have given up as many hits as they have innings pitched for the most part. 176 Ks for Cease. So that's actually decent. But both are victim to the long ball as well. They've given up 31 home runs combined equally. Singer, he had all the promise in the world for the Royals. Cease has been down on his luck here. And you never know what you're going to get at the bat from either one of these teams. So they're both bad teams with pitchers who should have been better. Altogether, this is just a classic, just run for the hills type of game. You don't want anything with it. Get away from here. Get away. All right, so no play with the White Sox and the Royals. All right, Kyle Hendricks host the Giants and Walker, the pitcher for them. The Cubs minus 134 over 10.5. We had the Cubs yesterday on a alternate run line, which was nice. Would have liked to have seen the A's score a little bit less for us, so they spoiled the party against the Blue Jays. But Ryan Walker is 4-2, 2.16 ERA in his 50 innings pitched. Kyle Hendricks, the savvy right-handed veteran, doesn't throw fast, doesn't throw hard, but a 3.59 ERA for him at 110.1 innings pitched. 105 hits for him, 74 Ks, to 20 walks and 11 home runs. No lineup available for the Giants right now, so that's interesting. And the Cubs lineup against Walker has not been that great. They only have a combined 3 hits against them in 6, 8, 10, 14 at-bats. So 3 hits and 14 at-bats is not going to get it done for the most part. That is, let's see, Horner and Madrigal both have success. Everyone else, nothing against the pitcher. And no lineup available for the Giants as of yet. So, you know, the Giants' bats have been bad. They've been nothing to write home about with their offense. You got to give the Cubs a little bit of a favorite for a nod here to beat the Giants. And I think at the end of the day, this will end up being a no play for me. But it's a cheap number, minus 134 for the Cubs. So maybe it's not. Let's see what we can get on an all line. See, that's the problem is we like too much right now. I want to trim that list down a bit. But the Cubs, minus 2.5 over 8.5 is plus 320. I think I could get there considering Hendricks gives up a little bit himself just by way of not pitching fast, right? So maybe he gets roughed up a little bit. Giants get a few runs. Cubs can get a lot more and win that minus 2.5 over 8.5. You're getting over 3-1, so that's a good price on that. Okay, let's go to. I feel like these games were out of order on this list here, as we have 5 games left here on the slate. Let's go with Houston and Texas, 8:06. We have Framber Valdez against Nathan Eovaldi. Just about even matchup as Valdez is a minus 115 favorite. Over under is 8.5. You know what? I would just kind of almost lean towards an over too. Now the Rangers have lost 13 of 17 games, which is terrible. As good as they have been, I mean, they are stone cold, so you can't rely on them to win. The Astros are just as bad wishy-washy, to be honest. So fading the pitchers over 8.5, I think you might be able to get there. Valdez, it's feast or famine. He's no hitter or he's a blow-up machine. So if they get over, maybe they get to 10 or 11 runs. I don't know. I mean, these teams have the capability to put up 1 million runs, to be honest. But can they? All right. So over 11.5 is plus 255. Over 12.5 plus 340. Over 13.5 plus 470. At the end of the day, I think it's a no play for me, but I would lean over on a hunch that they'd be able to get the job done here. Reed Detmers, the former Oriole, will pitch for the Angels tonight at home as an underdog, plus 140 against Dean Creamer and the O's, minus 165 for them, over under 8.5. Now, a late home run last night got me for the Orioles. They only won by 3. I was hoping they'd win by 4. We would have had another nice cash out on what has been a great weekend for cash outs. But again, we'll lean with the Orioles and somewhat of an over here again. 6-3 was the final last night. I could see that being somewhat the case again tonight. Can they get to 10.5? Maybe. I mean, Detmers has been a blow-up machine at times. For sure, but the Orioles minus 2.5 over 10.5 is plus 460. 1.5 over 9.5 plus 290. That might be the better way to go. Is there a little bit better way to go? Orioles minus 1.5 over 7.5 is plus 185. So we get a better number if we can get to 10 runs. I think you just kind of trust the offense and bite the bullets. This could be a big overnight here on a Tuesday. I mean, I've been and we saw a lot of crooked scores yesterday. I was saying to myself, be aware. I mean, there's some hot, humid conditions across these ballparks, not necessarily in Anaheim humidity, but just generally speaking, I do feel like there are some overs out there to be had tonight. And we've seen plenty of crooked numbers here in recent days. For sure. and all year, to be honest. I mean, I think there's definitely something with the ball. So at 8.5, I'd say that's a low over-under, and we could probably get to the over here as well. Freeland and the Rockies are at PFAADT for the Diamondbacks. The D-backs minus 210 over under 9. Now the Rockies have been bad. The Diamondbacks. The Diamondbacks are right in the thick of the wild card hunt, so they're going to put out their effort for sure. They haven't quit, but the Rockies may have. They may continue south to Cabo San Lucas after this series if it all goes wrong. But at minus 2.5 over 8.5 at plus 270, I think that's a fair play for the Diamondbacks down there in is it Bank One Ballpark? Is that what they still call that place? I feel like they call it something else. Where the Arizona Diamondbacks play. Let's see. Now we got my attention. Chase Field. Yes, there it is. Chase Field. So a heavy favorite there for the D-backs over the Rockies. And why not? The Rockies 21-49 on the road this season. That is bad. 73 degrees and sunny skies. Blue Jays and Athletics tonight. Minus 190 for the Blue Jays. Chris Bassett on the mound, 13-7. This is his former team, the A's. And we like to pick on the lefty Ken Waldichuk, 2-7, 5.92 ERA for the A's. 114 innings pitched, 126 hits, 114 Ks, 64 walks, 21 home runs. Bassett, 165.1 innings pitched, 145 hits, 151 Ks for him. So, I mean, I don't know. I just feel like this is the you're playing your former team here, and you're going to put on a good show. Now, the Blue Jays are a little injured here. Bo Bichette, Matt Chapman, Brandon Belt, all on the day-to-day or 10-day DL. All right, so a little bit shorthanded here for the Blue Jays. Do I want to trust an over here? Not really. But maybe like the Blue Jays in the under, same way we did the Yankees game. So let's see what we can find on that. Where, minus 1.5 under 8.5. I think that's fair. Taking into account the injuries there for the Blue Jays. Let's see. Minus 1.5 under 8.5 for the Blue Jays is plus 290. So that's a good number. You're looking for the Blue Jays to basically just an under game and win by the run line. They should be able to beat up on Waldichuk. And I think Bassett will have a good effort against Knight. But the the A's have been competitive, 5-5 here in their last 10 games. So slight lean with the Blue Jays and the under here. And then the last game on the board is Michael Lorenzen and the Philadelphia Phillies are at Avila and the Padres. The Padres a slight favorite, minus 116. Over under is 9 in this game. I was expecting the Phillies to dominate last night. They did. They got 9 runs, but they also gave up 7. So that game flew over the total as well. Why am I hearing things? Okay. 71 degrees down in Petco Park. Padres just 38-35 at home. Philly an even 35-35 there on the road. All right. Michael Lorenzen 8-8 overall, 3.73 ERA. He has 137.2 innings pitched, 119 hits, 103 Ks. Avila 0-2, 2.67 ERA, just 30.1 innings pitched for him. I would just trust the experience here for the Phillies and have them win. But now I think I feel like the Padres have been playing a little bit better lately. They haven't been the complete slug that we have portrayed them as most of the season. And maybe they keep it competitive. Maybe another chance for an over as well, for sure. Over under in this game is at 9. So can they fly over that? Probably. So we'll look for that anyway. All right. back to the full slate here. And we'll go through it one more time. Okay, we'll lean Brewers and Pirates. We like the Dodgers at the Marlins with the over. We like the over in Boston and Tampa. We like the over in Seattle and the Reds. We'll lean with the Mets over the Nats. Yankees and under against the Tigers. Braves and over against the Cardinals. Slight lean on the Cubs. Slight lean over Astros and Rangers. Orioles and the over against the Angels. Trust the Diamondbacks against a flailing Rockies team at home with a slight over there. And then an over with Philly and San Diego. Okay, I'll tell you what. 10 minutes left in the show, or 10 minutes left in the hour. We're just going to go ahead and wrap it up. We'll get Nephew Dave in here tomorrow. We'll have more stuff on Thursday as well. Mainly, we just wanted to get to the baseball today. Take a break from the football early week. It'll be good to get our heads clear, and we'll come in tomorrow with a full concentration on what we want to look for NFL-wise, college football-wise. We'll get into all of that tomorrow. All right. So go ahead. If you need to get a repeat of this baseball slate, go ahead and hit rewind on the replay on deepend757.com, the round robin. I am Stephen Murray, broadcasting from our studios in Virginia Beach, Virginia. We'll go ahead and call it a night for tonight with the baseball slate. We'll call this the swimming pool hangover day. Is basically what it is. Long summer of whiny, complaining people who don't show up for work. And, the season ended yesterday, and they continue to whine a little bit today. So we'll take a deep breath and try to unwind. And we will be back tomorrow, Thursday, and Sunday morning. Looking forward to that, 7 a.m. All right, this is the Round Robin. Have a good night. Good luck.